Penn State loses a quarterback just ahead of its playoff game against SMU this weekend. I'm going to tell you why this is a huge problem for James Franklin and the Nittany Lions. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com and get started. So Bo Pribula is leaving Penn State. Now, of course, Drew Allar announced he's coming back. These are related. We'll tell you how this affects this weekend. Plus, we have other Big Ten news, transfer portal, all this stuff, helping you keep track of that, and our Tuesday tweets right here. So while Penn State starting quarterback Drew Allar announced on Monday that he is going to return to Happy Valley in 2025, and he'll put off his plans for playing in the NFL, backup Bo Pribula is entering the transfer portal immediately. As in before the Nittany Lions playoff game this weekend against SMU. Allar's announcement almost surely affected Pribula's decision to leave. Once he found out he's come back, he says, look, man, I want to do my own thing. But right now, the week of a playoff game, this is it's a little unusual. But we'll talk about that in just a minute and what I think about that. Because Pribula is not just a backup. He's a pretty important part of this Penn State offense. And he was a nice safety blanket in case something were to happen to starter Drew Allar during the postseason here, as was exhibited in the second half of the Wisconsin game earlier this year when Allar was knocked out of the game at the end of the first half. Penn State had to fight to win. I don't know that they would have done it without Pribula. And, before we move forward in this conversation together, let's move backward for just a minute. There are two things going on here that I want to discuss with you. First, it's been a couple of years, but we're kind of getting used to kids opting out of these meaningless bowl games in order to stay healthy for the NFL draft. I get it. Caleb Williams did it at USC last year when he skipped the Holiday Bowl, because he was going to be the top pick in the NFL draft. And playing a bowl game that wasn't a playoff game made no sense. If he got hurt, he was going to lose millions and millions of dollars. But now, more recent problem here is because of the timeline involved with the portal and the December college football postseason, we're witnessing schools field teams that are a shell of themselves in bowl games because numerous kids are hitting the transfer portal as soon as it opens up, which is the day after the conference championship games. Marshall, and we've seen this for a couple of years, but Marshall just pulled out of the Independence Bowl altogether because they have enough players. And they're not going to face Army in Shreveport on December 28th because the Thundering Herds coach, Charles Huff, he left for the Southern Miss job. And the next day, 29 Marshall scholarship players hit the transfer portal. That list included all three quarterbacks on the roster. The school said it could not safely field a team for a bowl game, so it pulled out. Now, I always thought that this trend of kids leaving their bowl games high and dry, it would continue as is. It was the cost of doing business. It's just part of the deal. But I always wondered, would this happen to a blue blood program going to the playoffs? I wasn't sure what happened, but now it has at Penn State. Now, Ohio State faced a similar situation with backup quarterback Devin Brown. And he's been edged out for the Buckeyes starting quarterback job 2 consecutive seasons to 2 different quarterbacks, and Kyle McCord and Will Howard. And, of course, with a star-studded youth movement coming up in the Buckeyes quarterback room, Brown sees the writing on the wall. He's going to look elsewhere because he won't play. So, but not now. He says, look, I'm going to the transfer portal, but my team's in the playoffs. My teammates, my guys, my coach, we're in the playoffs here. We got a chance at a national championship. So I'm not going to leave until after Much different than the Pribula situation at Penn State. The playoffs are important. They come first. Brown going to remain there with Ryan Day and his teammates, thick and thin, right? You talk about putting your team first. That's an example right there. Now, Penn State's opponent Saturday, SMU, they actually have a similar situation. Their backup quarterback, Preston Stone, is entering the transfer portal. But like Devin Brown at Ohio State, and unlike Bo Pribula at Penn State, he's going to remain with the Mustangs for as long as they're alive in the playoffs. Again, putting the team first. These playoff games, a lot different than just some middle-of-the-road bowl game. So that's how these guys are thinking. And everybody's doing what they think is best for themselves individually. But Pribula specifically cited the overlapping college football playoff and the transfer portal timeline as his reason to leave now. He says, hey, it's with a heavy heart, but I got to go, and I got to go now. Very interesting. So what does this mean for James Franklin at Penn State? After all, he's just a backup, right? Well, technically, yes, but no. He's an important part of this football team. He was tied for second on the team. We're talking about Pribula here. He was tied for second on the team in rushing touchdowns with 6. He was third on the team in carries and rushing touchdowns. He also threw 5 touchdown passes this season. And as I mentioned, Penn State might not have won that Wisconsin game without him when Allar hurt his knee at the end of the half. His absence will take a few creative pages out of offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki's playbook, because they use Pribula from time to time on some packages. So that's out. And what if Allar gets hurt again? What if he suffers another knee injury? What if he needs to sit out? What if he gets concussed? The comfort of throwing Pribula into the lineup without missing a beat, that's gone. That's absolutely gone. Certainly, everything and top 7 Heisman finalist Ty Warren, their tight end, he could take a few snaps if there was an emergency. But right now, he played quarterback in high school, and he would run some shotgun and take some snaps from center every once in a while in this Penn State offense. But the plan, from what I understand now, is to have true freshman Ethan Grunkmeyer, who was a top 76 recruit in the class of 2024, back up Allar for a national championship run. You imagine Allar goes down at Penn State, got to try and win a championship with Ethan Grunkmeyer at quarterback. No knock about it. He's probably the quarterback of the future. We don't know. We don't ever see him. No experience going into the Wolves, into the playoffs. That's a lot to ask, and there's a lot at stake here. And it's no longer a 2-game race with 4 teams. So now we got the whole expansion going on. And in order to win the title, Penn State has to win 4 more football games. That's a pretty large chunk of a football season. And that puts Allar under risk a lot more to have something go wrong to play 4 more games. So yeah, Bo Pribula may just be a backup, but his absence is going to be a really big deal for Penn State. I would love to hear from Penn State fans out there with the comments. You guys like to talk about these kind of things. Let me know. What do you think about Pribula's decision? The SMU backup, he's staying and waiting until the playoffs is over. Devin Brown at Ohio State, he's the backup. He's going to wait till the playoffs are over before he hits the transfer portal. What do you think? Love to hear from you with the comments on YouTube. By the way, a couple of scheduling things I want to let you know. We are going to go live Friday night, late Friday night into Saturday morning here on Locked On Big Ten on our YouTube channel, right after the Indiana-Notre Dame playoff game. And then again on Saturday, but we're going to go at nighttime. So we got 2 games to talk about. We're going to talk about the Penn State SMU game, which is earlier in the day, but we'll wait and go live right after the Ohio State game versus Tennessee, and we'll talk about both. So you Penn State fans, make sure you circle back Saturday night. By then, we'll know your fate and what's going on, and we'll talk about that around, I'm guessing, both Friday night and Saturday night when we go live. It'll be around 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, and we'll touch on the midnight hour out on the East Coast. So join us for that. Make an appointment in your phone or your devices, and remind yourself to join us. In the meantime, I always ask you, subscribe. If you haven't yet, a lot of you already have. I get it. If you haven't, just click it. like that. It doesn't take any other information or any other time, and it's always free. And you and I are on the same page with all things Big Ten moving forward. And that way you get our podcast as soon as they become available each and every day. So check that out. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. Christmas is coming. You don't have any ideas? You haven't done your shopping yet? I know you're a Big Ten fan or a fan of a Big Ten team. Maybe you got a relative or a friend that's impossible to buy for. Get them a Michigan shirt or an Ohio State pennant or an Oregon Duck hat or a jacket or sweater. We have it all right there on our website where we put all of our podcasts at talkbig10.com. That's the number 10, talkbig10.com. Our podcasts go there chronologically, and we group them by school as well. Real easy to find. And then there's always a link there where you could hit go ahead and do your shopping. Get your favorite school gear right there in time for Christmas. Get it done, just a couple of clicks. It's all right there at talkbig10.com. All right, we have the latest portal information, all that stuff going on, recruiting news, everything. We're going to get you all caught up. Some funny stories too. Plus our Tuesday tweets. Always love that. That's coming up in just a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. It's that time of year, college football playoff. It is here. And with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st with the college football playoff kickoff show. That's Saturday. They're going to do this as Saturday at AT&T, presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern, leading into the first matchup. SMU Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions at noon Eastern. And then Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in the showdown at 4 o'clock Eastern. So don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the college football playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. All right, I want to thank everybody for checking us out here at Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day, especially your everydayers out there. Meanwhile, subscribe on YouTube, share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. I want to mention Notre Dame, Indiana, coming up this on Friday. Going to be cold. Might even be a little dusting of snow. I checked the forecast. Notre Dame football coach Marcus Freeman just got a 5-year extension ahead of the Fighting Irish's game Friday night against the Hoosiers. So how many of you Fighting Irish fans saw that coming after the loss to Northern Illinois in September? We'll see. I mention it because how many times as a sports fan does a coach get an extension and then he loses that next game? Indiana fans are ready for this football game. And I think they're buying up some tickets. There might be some red up there in South Bend. Be very exciting. Indiana's arch rival Purdue, though, bad news. Their best player is leaving. Safety Dylan Thieneman transferring to, wait for it, number 1 Oregon. Staying in the Big Ten, but going to the West Coast, taking the gig with the Oregon Ducks. Thieneman, we've talked about him a lot on this podcast. He was a freshman All-American in 2023. It seems like every other week we're mentioning him as Big Ten Freshman of the Week. He had 6 interceptions as a freshman, which was tied for 3rd in the country. No interceptions this year, but he led the team in tackles both of his seasons in West Lafayette. He's going to be missed. Meanwhile, what is the game plan at quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes for the Music City Bowl on December 30th versus Missouri? There's been a lot of juggling at the quarterback position for Kirk Ferentz this season. And Cade McNamara, he has struggled. He got hurt again. And then Brendan Sullivan, and by the way, he's transferring out. And then Brandon Sullivan stepped in and he got hurt. Walk-on Jackson Stratton helped to get the team to the finish line for the regular season. It sounds like Sullivan's ankle is healing and he will get the start for the Hawkeyes in the bowl game. If the Hawkeyes win, that will be win number 205 for Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, and will tie him with Woody Hayes as the all-time winningest coach of the Big Ten. Meanwhile, the Hawkeyes passing game, let's face it, it has struggled this year no matter who was in at quarterback. They really relied on running back Caleb Johnson. He's not going to be available for the bowl game because he is entering the NFL draft. Should go pretty high. Young quarterback, young Nebraska quarterback, Daniel Kalen. He's leaving the program. He's going to transfer to Virginia. He did not play in 2024. I mean, Dylan Raiola, the great story, the freshman. And then when he couldn't play, Heinrich Harburg, a leftover from the previous year, he played. And as far as Kalen goes, he'll have 4 years of eligibility left at Virginia. But I want to circle back to Harburg. Matt Rule's moving him to tight end for this bowl game, for the Huskers bowl game. And he will still be prepared and available to play a quarterback if something happens to Dylan Raiola. So also Jalen Gramstad, he's been taking snaps as the number 2 quarterback. Harburg wasn't the greatest passer, the greatest passing quarterback before Raiola arrived. And Harburg played when Raiola was banged up, like we said. But look, he is a strong, powerful runner. And over the past 2 years, he's rushed 145 times for 579 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's very capable. He's a good athlete. He also has 3 catches for 20 yards. My assessment is, and this is my guess, he's just too good of an athlete. And look, if we're going to be committed to Dylan Raiola, and we are, I'm sure they are, Harburg's too good of an athlete to keep on the bench just as a spare backup quarterback. That's what I think is going on. So I think Matt Rule and new offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen have talked this over, and I said, well, let's get him on the field some more. And that'll give him a head start on this position that he will play more in a full-time role in 2025. Huskers facing Boston College in the Pinstripe Bowl. Be the Huskers' first bowl appearance since 2016. Minnesota's running back room just got deeper. Michigan transfer running back Cole Cabana is a 4-star from 2023, and he's going to join the Gophers. And he'll have 3 years of eligibility left. The Gophers already have an awesome running back in Darius Taylor, who will be in his 3rd year playing for PJ Fleck, but the more the merrier. And bad news for the UCLA Bruins. They've been in the running as one of the final 3 destinations for JUCO corner Keyshawn Davila and his services. He's ranked the number 1 JUCO cornerback available, and he's going to head to Arkansas instead. So that's a swing and a miss for UCLA. Thus far, UCLA has just landed 1 commit in the transfer portal so far. They've been recruiting high school kids, okay, but getting some experience in the portal, it's not looking good yet. And I want to share a different story with you. It may make you smile, may make you mad. Remember former Michigan State defensive back Jaden Mangum? Well, back in May, he created quite a stir when he transferred to Michigan, from Michigan State to Michigan. A lot of fans were very upset, but Mangum still graduated from Michigan State. It's where all of his credits were, I guess, and graduated early. And he went to the Michigan State graduation ceremony this weekend wearing a Michigan cap. Go figure. Tuesday night, we got some Big Ten men's basketball. 21st ranked Michigan State is at Oakland. That's the Oakland in Michigan, not on the West Coast. Pretty good basketball program there at Oakland in Michigan. 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. St. Francis is at Maryland, 7:30 on the Big Ten Network, 7:30 Eastern time. Valparaiso at Ohio State at 8 o'clock Eastern on Peacock. And Prairie View A&M is at 24th ranked UCLA, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network. There's also some women's hoops tonight. Grand Valley is at 11th ranked Ohio State. That's a noon game, noon on Tuesday. Purdue is at Miami of Ohio. Air Force is at Oregon, and 10th ranked Oklahoma is at number 20 Michigan to take on the ladies over there, the Wolverines. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on ESPN2 as part of the Jumpman Invitational. All right, Tuesdays. We always love Tuesday tweets. If you're new, we do features at the end of this podcast. I don't think any other podcasts here on Locked On or anywhere do this, but they're bookmarks every week. Mondays, our top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesday tweets. We pull your tweets from our Twitter handle at Talk Big Ten. Wednesday, we do our power rankings. Thursday, we look ahead to the Big Ten Network schedule, Big Ten Classics and live action. And Friday, we make our picks, pigskin picks, basketball picks, whatever we need to do. We do it right there. So Tuesday tweets, they always make me smile. They're coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Games are exciting. They're even more exciting. We got a little something on them with FanDuel. Tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So if you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you could check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So visit FanDuel.com and join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Looking ahead, Thursday night football, Broncos and Chargers, AFC West. Chargers are 3-point favorites. They got blown out this weekend, by the way. The number 42.5. I like the under here. A little defensive battle. 42. I know it's a low number, 42.5. You can do stuff like that right there at FanDuel.com. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. PrizePicks. I've told you about this before. It's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports easy and accessible to all. Just pick more or less with at least 2 players and their stats, and you even have a shot at winning up 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long at PrizePicks, America's number one daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks now offers MasterCard for quick, easy deposits into your sports accounts all season long. And you can sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. So join now for the holiday season. PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Picksmas, yeah. So look, you compare a couple players, for example. James Cook will get more than 60 yards, and Joe Burrow will pass for more than 1.5 touchdowns. That's how you enter it. It's very, very easy. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. That's PrizePicks, run your game. All right, let's take a look at our Tuesday tweets. These are always fun. We put them up here. And again, if you got something witty, you want to hit me up at Talk Big Ten, we'll put them on the show. I'm going to go full screen here. If you're audio only, I'll describe them in detail. This is from at Swanky Wolverine. So I'm not sure if this is Photoshopped or if this is real. But it's a picture of Peyton Manning, former Tennessee ball. Tennessee's taking on Ohio State. And it's an orange hoodie that says Ohio State sucks. That's from Swanky. Again, there's a strong possibility that's Photoshopped. Nevertheless, speaking of the Buckeyes, here's at SR Buckeyes. 1 goal this week. It's a big Ohio State logo. Beat Tennessee. Here is one from at Go blog, Michigan. Just a reminder, it's been 1,841 days since Ohio State beat Michigan. Is it time for a new logo? It is the Ohio State O with a Michigan flag planted in the middle, just like on the 50-yard line, and all the dust up that created. Here's from one at Indiana football, another honor for our team's leader, as Curt Cignetti gets Coach of the Year. Picture of Curt Cignetti. Again, they take on Notre Dame Friday night in the playoffs. Indiana in the playoffs. And we'll go live right after that here on Lockdown Big Ten. Speaking of, here's another IU logo. Beat Notre Dame. 1 goal this week. Beat Notre Dame. That's from SR Hoosiers. Here is at Dylan Thieneman, the former Purdue football player, announcing that he is committed to Oregon. It's got a picture of him in an Oregon uniform. It says committed, #Go Ducks. That's a huge loss for Purdue. It is a great game for the Oregon Ducks. Here's from at U of M coverage, Michigan site, 5-star quarterback Bryce Underwood, a picture of him holding a trophy. He won the Mr. Football Award, the prestigious Mr. Football Award in the state of Michigan, and it was for the second consecutive year. Well, look, if he's going to be the number 1 most wanted recruit in all of America, and obviously he's going to Michigan, I guess you would win the award from the state that you were in. Mr. Football, the state of Michigan. Congratulations. Here is a picture of Drew Allar. It's a screenshot from the game against Iowa from at Sup Caroline. One more year. Drew Allar coming back to Penn State next year. Very excited. Here, if you're on audio only, this is two pictures of Beaver Stadium under snow. They are plowing it. This is what happens when you get playoff games in December in Pennsylvania. Snow. Winter has arrived in Beaver Stadium. There you go. Schools from Texas might not like to play in the snow. I'm just saying. This is from at the Big Ten huddle. Way too early. Top 5 Big Ten Heisman contenders for 2025. And it's a picture of all of them on screen. We got wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, who is a freshman, will be a sophomore next year at Ohio State. No doubt about that. Quarterback Dylan Raiola at Nebraska also will be a sophomore. Quarterback Dante Moore in an Oregon uniform. Remember, he transferred from UCLA last year, backed up Dylan Gabriel. He'll be good to go. Very talented. Quarterback Jaden Maeva at USC, who took over when Miller Moss was benched. And there's Drew Allar, Penn State. Yeah, I like that list. Every one of them's got a shot. Very good. All right, those are it. For AdX, our Tuesday tweets at Talk Big Ten. Hit me up. Send me something. We'll put it on the podcast. We'd love to do so. All right, a lot's going on. We're going to continue to keep an eye on the portal and any recruiting news. We're going to keep previewing any news as we head toward the playoffs this weekend. We'll be talking a lot more about Indiana, Notre Dame, Penn State, SMU, Ohio State, Tennessee as we wind down the week. This is your source for all things Big Ten news, also opinion and analysis. So check us out every day and tell your friends about us. Many ways for you to interact with us. Twitter, as I mentioned, Talk Big Ten. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts are, and also links if you want to buy some Christmas shopping, do some Christmas shopping, buy some Big Ten school merchandise for you or your friends or your family. Great stocking stuffers, talkbig10.com. And whatever you do, be sure to subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app. And you get the latest episode as soon as it becomes available each and every day. Thanks so much for checking us out. Never take it for granted. I always love it. Thank you for joining us. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon.